Hello Internet, it's Andrew Potter back with another episode of Life of Pi. This should be the second one today. Today we will be reading chapters 18 and 19, as 18 is about a page and a half or something along that about 2.5 pages, so I can do 18 and 19. And that'll put us at 20, which should be about 1/5 of the way through Life of Pi. So we still have a journey to go, I'd say, since we haven't even met this tiger yet. And with that, let's get started. Chapter 18. Islam followed right behind, hardly a year later. I was 15 years old and I was exploring my hometown. The Muslim quarter wasn't far from the zoo, a small quiet neighborhood with Arabic writing and crescent moons inscribed on the facades of the houses. I came to Mullah Street. I had a peek at the Jamia Masjid, the great mosque, being careful to stay on the outside, of course. Islam had a reputation worse than Christians, fewer gods, greater violence, and I had never heard anyone say good things about Muslim schools. That's fair. I mean, in Canada we act better towards them, but we don't. Actually, yeah, I've never even heard of a Muslim school. I can't. Yeah. To be fair, I've never actually seen a Christian school. I've just heard of friends who were forced into it and seen them on television. I've not heard good things, so I don't know. I don't know what a Muslim school would be like. I don't know much about about Islam? Is Islam the name of the religion? I think no. I don't mean to be ignorant, I just don't know. I haven't been educated on the subject. I believe, so I don't know what a Muslim school would look like. I don't know if there's any different practices or anything like that. I assume it would be similar. This is just based on what little information I have, so feel free to correct me in the comments, but I feel like it would just be whatever a Christian school is, but just all the Christianity of it replaced with Muslim ideals. And so I believe at Christian schools they pray in the morning, so I assume a Muslim school they would pray in the morning, but it would just be Muslim prayers, not Christian prayers. So I wasn't about to step in, empty though the place was. The building, clean and white except for various edges painted green, was an open construction unfolding around an empty central room. Long straw mats covered the floor everywhere. Above, two slim, fluted minarets rose in the air before a background of soaring coconut trees. There was nothing evidently religious or, for that matter, interesting about the place, but it was pleasant and quiet. I moved on. Just beyond the mosque was a series of attached single-story dwellings with small shaded porches. They were run down and poor, their stucco walls a faded green. One of the dwellings was a small shop. I noticed a rack of dusty bottoms of thumbs-ups and 4 transparent plastic jars half full of candies. But the main ware was something else, something flat, roundish and white. I got close. It seemed to be some sort of unleavened bread. I poked at one. It flipped up stiffly. They were like 3-day-old nans. Who would eat these? I wondered. I picked up one and wagged it to see if it would break. A voice said, "Would you like to taste one?" I nearly jumped out of my skin. It happened to all of us. There's sunlight and shade, spots and patterns of color. Your mind is elsewhere, so you don't make out what is right in front of you. Not 4 feet away, sitting cross-legged before his breads, was a man. I was so startled my hands flew up and bread went sailing halfway across the street. It landed on a pat of fresh cow dung. "I'm so sorry, sir, I didn't see you," I burst out. I was just about ready to run away. "Don't worry," he said calmly. "It will feed a cow. Have another one." He tore one in 2. We ate it together. It was tough and rubbery, real work for the teeth, but filling. I calmed down. "So you make these?" I said, to make conversation. "Yes." "Here, let me show you how." He got off his platform and waved me into his house. It was a 2-room hovel. The larger room, dominated by an oven, was the bakery, and the other, separated by a flimsy curtain, was his bedroom. The bottom of the oven was covered with smooth pebbles. He was explaining to me how the bread baked on these heated pebbles when the nasal call of the muezzin wafted through the air from the mosque. I knew it was the call to prayer, but I didn't know what it entailed. I imagined it beckoned the Muslim faithful to the mosque, much like bells summon us Christians to church. Not so. The baker interrupted himself mid-sentence and said, "Excuse me." He ducked into the next room for a minute and returned with a rolled-up carpet, which he unfurled on the floor of the bakery, throwing up a small storm of flour, and right there before me, in the midst of the workplace, he prayed. It was incongruous, but it was I who felt out of place. Luckily, he prayed with his eyes closed. He stood straight. He muttered in Arabic. He brought his hands next to his ears, thumbs touching the lobes, looking as if he were straining to hear Allah replying. He bent forward. He stood straight again. He fell to his knees and brought his hands and forehead to the floor. He sat up. He fell forward again. He stood. He started the whole thing again. So hold on. He stood straight, muttered in Arabic. So, thumbs touching the lobes. Bent forward. Stood straight again. Fell to his knees and brought his hands and forehead to the floor. Sat up. Fell forward again. Stood. Okay. Sorry, I was just trying to... I read it faster than I could think it, so I wanted to make sure that I could imagine what a Muslim prayer looked like, because I want to understand. I want to educate myself on these subjects that I'm not as familiar with. This book, I feel, is doing great with that, about just all of Indian life, about the meaning of names in a weird way, of reminding me of kind of what childhood is like, and of these different religions. Yann Martel is doing an amazing job of creating, I don't want to say creating a world for me, but he's creating a life for me that I understand. I'm imagining a lot of what Pi is like, and it seems to makes sense with the life that he has lived so far, and I think that's absolutely brilliant. He's creating this character completely. It's not just it's not like Tolkien where it's like, oh, I'm going to create a world. It's not just like George R.R. Martin. I'm saying that because Game of Thrones shirt, and because I've recently started watching the series, where he's making a bunch of characters very good. It's Yann Martel is completely creating this character. Everyththing about this character is being explained, is being understood, is having a reason for why he's the way he is, why he goes by a certain nickname. It's explained why, it's not just, oh, because it's a short version of, it makes sense. Other kids joining in on it, his religious beliefs, everything is completely understood and explained in a congruent way that seems realistic. It's brilliant. Why? Islam is nothing but an easy sort of exercise, I thought. Hot weather yoga for the Bedouins, asanas without sweat, heaven without strain. He went through the cycle 4 times, muttering throughout. When he had finished with a right-left turning of the head and a short bout of meditation, he opened his eyes, smiled, stepped off his carpet, and rolled it up with a flick of the hand that spoke of old habit. He returned it to the spot in the next room. He came back to me. What was I saying, he asked. So it went the first time I saw a Muslim pray. Quick, necessary, physical, muttered, striking. Next time I was praying in church, on my knees, immobile, silent before Christ on the cross, the image of this calisthenic communion with God in the middle of bags of flour kept coming to my mind. And here we're getting more of what I was loving about the beginning of Life of Pi, of this detailed stuff that's making me think, how would so I'm assuming now, based on what was said, Pi is just a Christian now. He's converted. He's not both a Hindu and a Christian, he is just a Christian. And, as a person who just recently adopted a new religion, I can imagine a third new religion being very interesting to someone. That makes tons of sense to me. I have to applaud Yann Martel. This is brilliant writing. I'm loving this, and I don't think it's just in comparison to The My Immortal. I think just genuinely, this is interesting, great writing that I love. I'm loving exactly what he's doing here. Chapter 19. I went to see him again. "What's your religion about?" I asked. His eyes lit up. "It's about the beloved," he replied. "I challenge anyone to understand Islam, its spirit, and not to love it. It is a beautiful religion of brotherhood and devotion." Well, I mean, he's right. The thing with everything going on in America right now, I think it comes down to a lot of people not understanding on both sides. I think it's a lot of people are afraid of what they don't understand, of what they don't know. I don't want to say where I lean politically I don't want to say where I lean politically in a country where I don't live and don't have to see everything every day, kind of thing. As an outsider, I don't think I have that right. At least not here. I think privately with my friends, yes, that totally makes sense. In an open forum where I don't know everything, because I only hear bits and pieces from the news. I don't want to say where I lean, so you can take this with whatever grain of salt you'd like. But I think both sides are a little bit afraid. I do think there is a side that is more justified in their fear, but I'm not going to say that. I'm not going to say which. I think the point is both sides need to come to a point where they can openly discuss their fears, their plans for how they want society to move forward, and how best to implement those changes. I don't think that's going to happen, unfortunately, because I don't think both sides can agree to talk. I think maybe one side is agreeing more, maybe not. I think that it's going to be very difficult, and I think America is in a very pivotal moment of their history. I think I think everything that is going on right now with American, whatever they want to be called, centralists, alt-right, the side that is Nazis. I will say that openly. I think they are Nazis. They are putting up swastikas. They are acting very, they want a certain group, removed, whether they're saying through death or through deportation. They want them removed because of something that is not really controllable by them. It's because of a skin tone. It is because of religious, and you don't get to choose what you believe in, you just believe it, kind of thing. So I think the alt-right, centralists, Nazis are making things extremely difficult. I don't know enough about Antifa or their side of things to know if they're dealing with the situation what I think is correct, but I don't think Trump should be saying that there's two sides to this argument. I don't mean for this to get so political, and I hate that I did this again, but I mean, this book brings up very political, very personal thoughts. If you don't want to hear mine, that's fine. I'm sure there are many other booktubers who don't talk about as personal and political and sensitive subjects. My point is, I think President Trump should admit that there are Nazis in his country. I think he should then, not support them, denounce them, and should, fight against them. Because America fought against Nazis at one point in its history. I think that was a good decision. I don't think that's too political, actually, now that I say it. I don't think it should be too political to say Nazis are bad. That's what it comes down to. And I think that the push against the Muslim community in America stems from the same hatred as the Nazis in America right now, and I think that with an open discussion, that issue can be solved. Maybe that's a bit too flowery and hippy-dippy for some of you, but that is what I think. I think open discussions can help solve most problems in the world. I really do. I don't know where I get that from, but that is a notion that I fully believe in, is that open discussion and people willing to hear both sides critically, both the side that they are supporting and the side that they are fighting against. I think if you listen to both sides critically, then you can come to a correct decision, and I think that a group can come to a happy decision, because I think if you look at your side critically and say, no, this is not something this is something that I like, but I don't think this is something that makes sense, or what have you, I think you can come to a happy decision. people do it with movies all the time. I don't see why, because this is a more serious subject, that people can't come to decisions using the same metric, using the same system. You know, I can fully well admit there are movies that I enjoy that are not good movies. One example being Fight Club. I loved the movie Fight Club. For many years, it was my favorite movie. But the tone is too loud. It's way, it's trying to do masculine-centric stuff, but it's taking it to a complete extreme level. Like I said, it takes its message way too far. We do not need to blow up every bank just to, help people be more equal. Which is what essentially I come down to the boiling of that movie, is that the movie wants everybody to be equal, everybody to have what they need, kind of thing. Kind of a communist message, but not to that extreme kind of thing. Not exactly communism. Anyways, let me finish this short chapter, which I did not think would be the one that I'd have more discussion on. It is a beautiful religion of brotherhood and devotion. The mosque was truly an open construction, to God and to breeze. We sat cross-legged, listening to the imam until the time came to pray. Then the random pattern of sitters disappeared as we stood and ranged ourselves shoulder to shoulder in rows, every space ahead being filled by someone from behind until every line was solid and we were row after row of worshippers. It felt good to bring my forehead to the ground. Immediately it felt like a deeply religious contract. This is getting very interesting, because now I wonder, what is Pi going to do? Because now he has gone from Hindu to Christian to what seems like he's going to be Muslim. So then, what happens with that? Where he finds all three religions deeply gratifying, what does he do? Does he pick one over the others? Does he join all three? Does he denounce religion? I feel like it won't be denounce religion, because he said one of his degrees is in religion, and this is when he's 15. So based on that, I would assume he has to have something, he has to have some religious faith still in him. I can't see him picking one over the other because he's 15. Because he's 15, he still has that flicker of, I don't want to say this, this flicker of rebellion, I suppose, that many adults lose later on in life, whether for good or for bad. I find, even in myself, as much as I try to hold on to it, there is a flicker of rebellion that we lose at a certain age. I'd say it's around 21, 22, you start to lose it. And it's a part of you accepting the world as it is, kind of thing, which sucks. Which really, really sucks. That, you start to just accept where we're at. We should continue to strive forward. We should continue to make the world a better place. Unfortunately, we start to lose that. Some people, and to some amount. Some people keep it in complete capacity, I believe, and some people lose that flicker altogether. They put that flame out. It's gone. I like to think I'm at least on the I think I still have most of my rebellion. Like I said, I want to believe the world can be a better place, and I want to believe we can have these open discussions with politicians and religious figures and everyone, and come to some sort of agreement at some point. I believe eventually, somehow, world peace is achievable. I don't think it'll be in my lifetime, which is why I say, I've lost some of that flicker, definitely, because a child would believe, yeah, we can totally achieve world peace in my lifetime. I don't think so. But I don't know, maybe we'll see. Maybe 5, 10, 15 series of this down the road, I'll be saying, hey, guys, look, we achieved world peace. Maybe I won't. Maybe at that point, there'll be a nuclear fallout and I won't have a series. I don't know. This went on a lot longer than I thought it would. It feels about the same length, if not longer, than the last video. But, that's really it. I'm very interested to see where Pi goes, and we're back to kind of the stuff I was loving at the beginning of, where it's just here is my life story. Here is me going deeper and deeper and longer, and I'm very excited that it looks like we have tons of the book left. I'm willing to assume chapters get longer, because technically I should be about a fifth of the way through the book, and I don't know, maybe that's a fifth of the way. Looks a little less to me. Looks a little less than a fifth. But either way, that was me. That was what I had to say about this book, about this journey we're on. I hope you enjoyed it. As always, if you have any questions, anything you want me to go in deeper in the finale episode, comment that below. And as always, feel free to like and subscribe if you haven't already. Have a good night.